ask. But now, we've taken enough time from our guests today, so I would like to ask Denise to come over here. I personally have seen Denise a few times in various hackathons. I think you're a seasoned Garage 48 attender.
That's possible.
Yes, but you will probably tell more about yourself.
That's possible as well.
Yeah, and why do you attend all these hackathons? I'm curious.
Of course.
Hello everyone. Since we're in tech event, let's connect the tech.
Does it usually work at the tech events?
Usually works for me. Works on my machine. Amazing. Hello everyone, nice to meet you. My name is Denis Kovalenko, and today we'll be talking about machine learning, artificial intelligence, its role in the product development, and things that you need to know coming to this future era post-AI revolution. Today we'll cover a few topics. First, we'll get to know each other a bit better. I will talk about machine learning applied in the real world to solve real problems humans. I'll touch a bit about product building and tips and tricks and kind of ideas and lessons that I've learned that are relevant for you this week and for many, many years ahead. And to close off, I'll focus on the topic that I consider to be most important when it comes to the AI. Is there a question? That's a good question. And I'll cover what to do with questions overall a bit later. Well, you didn't know, but wow, there are candies here. Somebody stole my candies.
I put them up.
Oh yeah. So there's going to be a way to ask questions and to make comments in a way that is doesn't require you to speak up, and you can use your phone. But if you ask a question or give a good answer or a comment that makes you uncomfortable, you can get a candy. Are you trying to catch it? Oh, sorry. I mean, I would say that machine learning and AI same but not the same. AI typically means when people talk about AI, what they meant changes all the time. As the field was progressing over the past decades, AI as a discipline came out in 1940s. The definition of what's artificial intelligence has been also increasing. We are hungry, our demand for what is cool grows. 70 years ago, or like 60 years ago, the bot that can play chess was considered to be an intelligent AI. Now this is just a boring thing, you have it on, like everybody can have it on their phone very easily, it doesn't excite anybody these days. And there are many ways to classify what is AI, what's not AI. For business people, everything is AI. Every piece of code that is smart is artificial intelligence. For people who apply things, usually people talk about machine learning, but I think it's useful to figure out what is closer to general intelligence, and we can maybe talk about those things like AI. But machine learning is what is the bread and butter and how we create a lot of value and create a lot of interesting things. So yeah, first candy out, there's more where it came from. But first, let me introduce myself. What am I doing here? Why I might have something to tell you. I work at Bolt for the past 5 years, and I'm leading our machine learning platform team and our experimentation platform teams, where our goal is to enable people to develop machine learning applications and improve our business and our user experience and create new interesting features, as well as to experiment on ideas, measure the results, and validate those ideas. Something all of you have to do is validate. This doesn't make sense. Can it be applied? Is my idea good? Should I change something? We do that at Bolt all the time with very small things. Every UX, user experience change or every change in the functionality we measure and try to figure out, is it something that's actually our users need and love. And this is my team. These are software engineers and data scientists in my team with whom we make that happen, and we work for our other people who work at Bolt, so pretty large company at this day. And I will share a bit more about what we do with machine learning and AI at Bolt later on. But it started very, very differently. I'll tell a bit about how I got to this point. It all started with this guy. Raise your hand if you know who is this. I mean, obviously. That's Donatello. That's my favorite Ninja Turtle ever. And the reason why he's my favorite is because he's been constantly inventing things. He was my role model when I was a kid. I was mostly inventing things from the cardboard or whatever I could find at home. But the idea of trying to build something that is interesting and useful stuck out with me for already tens of years. That's where it started. And when I was in school, middle school and high school, I tried to be entrepreneurial. I tried to find ways to make money and did some non-technical, usual, like say, very small businesses. Some of them were complete failures, but some of them I made a bit of money. But the main thing is I got to learn. And I tried to build startups or projects with around technology. I would say I almost never made any money on my own projects, but there is a lot of things that I learned through that. And I've been doing that for quite some years now. And also, as Eda mentioned, I have been to a lot of hackathons, 15 plus on my count, and did it kind of for fun and profit. Sometimes I try to make something serious of it, sometimes I try to make fun, learn, meet great people, and see where it goes. And in my free time, I have a lot of hobbies, but some of the ones I like karaoke. So you guys, if you behave not very well during this presentation, you have to hear me singing. And I know you don't want that to happen. I like snowboarding, and my most recent passion is Latin dancing. And I'll just briefly show you a couple of pictures and screenshots of a variety of things that I'm doing. Some of it is I'm a bit ashamed, but this is my first product. It's also hardware, also 3D printed, and we try to solve the indoor air quality. This is amazing UX, which we built back then, and somehow we still got to win some competitions or got third prize at some competition with my friends at university. And this was when my journey of trying to build a product started. Since then, when I moved to Estonia, this is me at my first hackathon, Garage 48, 2016, and I really loved hackathons and the idea that you can come together, work for a short period of time, and sometimes make something great. Sometimes you learn, sometimes you meet different people, and it all sticks with you. And since then, I've done very weird things, and I was always looking for a new idea. What is something that I can build? I came up with some idea later, and I got also to participate in cool competitions and travel and represent Estonia, and build some other software. And that was very fun. And we got to more hackathons and more cool places. And at some point, I realized that what I was doing before is not working. So, rest in peace my second startup attempt, because it was a crappy idea anyway. And what I learned from that is that I really didn't want to work with that. I was thinking, like, if I succeed, I build a product, but if I succeed, I need to work on it for 5-10 years. I wasn't really excited about that. And that's when I realized that I'd rather move and to do something else and try to find a new idea. And one of the things that I'll be talking about today is the importance of iterating and trying and seeing what is something that makes you tick, what is something that actually is a good idea to invest your time in. But let's get to know a bit more about you. I introduce myself. Please take out your phones or your laptops, whatever is clever, and please go to this page. And I will launch a bit of a thing here. Your task will be now to scan this QR code. If not, just go to slido.com and enter a code 1757092. And what I'm gonna ask you is to tell me the name of the apps or applications or any examples of machine learning and artificial intelligence that you know. And they'll be appearing here on the screen. The code, let's see if it will show up. Yeah, 1757092. Amazing, somebody entered that code. I'm not a robot. Okay, ChatGPT. So if multiple people enter the same thing, it gets bigger. So we know ChatGPT, Bart, great, TikTok, Bolt, OpenAI. Great, keep them coming. If you don't have a phone or you're too lazy or you cannot read the code, you can just shout out things, and if you shout something nice, I may give you a candy, I may not. Let's see about that. Oh my god, you know everything. Mid-Journey. Oh, somebody knows those kind of cool things. Wow, you guys know quite a lot as a group. Boston Robotics Dogs, I like that one. Siri, of course. Beautiful algorithm. Digital potato peeler. That is a good one. I would love to see that in action. All right, we can keep it coming. But you see right now that we have some common things that we all know ChatGPT. Raise your hand if you try ChatGPT. Okay. I hope the rest of you are lying. I'm not gonna tell to not use it for your homeworks, but I'll tell you something else about that in future. But we see there are many use cases. Some of them are fancier and very powerful and very generic like ChatGPT. Some of them are maybe more mundane or sound more simple, but they solve a lot of interesting problems. I see that 7 participants are typing. I hope it's worth it. Let's see. Reddit, Google Bard, Photoshop. Yes, ReadsGPT. I don't know what's ReadsGPT. Okay. Judging by the laugh, I should not know. Dundee, that's a good one. So you guys pretty much know everything. I think we can finish it here and just do a Q&A. I'm sorry, I'm going to disappoint you. Spotify DJ. What is that? Okay, guys, I think I'm coming here to actually learn from you.
It actually enhances your playlist.
Ah, and it's called Spotify DJ.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, my playlist typically need enhancement.
And it's there's like a feature that speaks with you and plays song placement, you know, last listening history. But it's only available in UK and right now.
Okay, great. Lucky them. So now I know what you know. So you know all the cool things, and that's why I was actually thinking, what should I tell you? Because you guys probably have played with those tools way more than I did, and you know a lot. So let's see. And I had this question. When I got the opportunity to speak to you, what is actually something I can tell you? Probably it's not very well seen, but I asked on LinkedIn from my colleagues and my network, what is something you would tell to tech enthusiasts, teenagers who are curious about product building? What is something you would share with them? I'll show you a couple of examples right now, and some of them will come at different points in the presentation, so stay tuned. But some of them were like that. Margarita wanted to tell that AI is really close to you. And you may not notice, but things like TikTok collect your data and algorithms and a lot of cool stuff. One of my colleagues, Pavel, tell to please fact check your homeworks where you use ChatGPT for, because hallucinations are real. And of course, AI, everybody talks about it. Not sure that everybody does it, but everybody pretends that they do. And Christian, oh my God, he's here still, unfortunately, but yes, he wanted me to tell about some basics of ML, machine learning, and that I'm gonna do that a bit in the future. So we're gonna have 3 sections. We're gonna have a section on machine learning. We're gonna have a section about the product and about AI and future and what you can take away with you for years to come. But let's start with a bit of real-world machine learning. This is what it seems like people look at AI and ML these days, that we have cool applications and we have boring applications, just predict some number and so on. And everybody wants to do real cool AI. I had a lot of my colleagues at university who wanted to focus on the very advanced algorithms solving these AI problems. But we are here today as product builders and entrepreneurs. We are not necessarily research scientists, at least. We're not playing this role today, or maybe you do. And I think it's very important to understand where the most of the value is created with machine learning these days. But try to guess how many machine learning use cases we have at Bolt. How many models we have in production? Shout out a number. 1 million? 1 million, okay. 175. Shout out other numbers. 5, 3.
20.
What? 3,000. Wow, that's a lot.
15 to 20.
15 to 20. Anybody can give me more?
We use it for everything.
For everything. 38. I think it's closer. Which one? Yeah, I mean, we have a bit more. I think over the time, over the 5+ years we've been working on, we accumulated 60+ or 70 use cases of machine learning that are running in production. Those are the, and you may wonder where they are. Some people said 3,000. I'm very curious where we get 3,000 or 1 million, but not 5 and not 10. And I will actually explain some of the examples of those things where machine learning can be applied and is applied to Bolt. Some of the use cases, try to not fall asleep, but a very important part is pricing. You may see, if you use Bolt, you may see higher price at some point, and everybody hates it, but if we don't do that, more drivers won't come online, because usually prices are higher when there are not enough drivers to match all the demand that exists there. And there are probably at least 6 or 7 algorithms that are related to pricing. There are things about how to connect right drivers with passengers or couriers, with eaters and restaurants, and I will show you one toy example of how you can approach it. And of course, you can find the bad guys. We do automate variety of manual process, automate routine tasks of customer support, and things like that. And if we combine that, that adds up to many, many more things. And some other examples, I mean, you already created way better slide than I did. You know, there's TikTok, there are recommendation engines that make you want to buy more. There are things about predicting what you're more likely to engage with or which advertisement you're gonna click. And all of that is serving to create, on one side, value for you, because if you click the ad, this means you're interested in that. And other side, to make money for the companies. And one thing, we're talking about this AI and machine learning, cool AI, boring machine learning. This is one of the smartest machine learning engineers I know, Lisa Bolt. And that's what we want to share with you guys. That profits is LGBM.predict. LGBM is one particular algorithm that is quite popular. It's quite simple compared to neural networks or other things you might hear about when you hear about ChatGPT or things like that. And this is bread and butter. This is how a lot of automation and a lot of cool things were done at Bolt. And I think the takeaway here is that when you try to create value, you don't need to run for the fanciest or the most complex or the most advanced technology, but finding the right problem to solve and applying, getting good data and connecting it all together, this is one of the best ways to create value. Who knows who is this guy? Okay, then if you know, be silent. Open again your phone, and we will start a quiz. We'll join a quiz. So there are a few options there, and let me see. I will not. Okay, Simona, Team Maria. That is all. Oh no, those are the participants. That's not the leaderboard. Mm-hmm. So let's start quiz. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I should stop it because not everybody has joined. 19 people. I'll wait couple more seconds. Oh, I can show the code again. Yes. Just in case these are not the options of the name of that guy. Wow. Do we have any naughty names here? That's what usually happens. I decide who wins. Melon Husk. I like that. So we have 39 people. I think that's enough. Let's start the quiz. So we have 4 options. Is that guy? I'll show you the picture again for a second. This guy, handsome one. Is it Sam Altman, Mark Andreessen, Paul Graham, or Andrei Karpathy? So when we have almost half people who did it, hurry up, candidates are waiting. Okay, few more, just a little bit of push. 2 more, I believe in you can do it. Who is the last one? Come on, don't ruin the party. Okay, everybody did it. So that was great. Let's see the results. And this is, guys, what you answered. So in the first place we have Mark Andreessen and Andrei Karpathy, and Sam Altman and Paul Graham are on the second place, almost sharing it. You don't need to know those names, but if you want to read something insightful and something that you can keep reading for many years to come to learn how to be a better product person, better startupper, or better tech person, if you read Paul Graham and Sam Altman, you can get a lot of wisdom. I've been reading them for years. They have great essays, a bit longer form, not TikTok-like content, but they're very valuable. And Sam Altman is currently the CEO of OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT. And his vision has been there for many, many years. So if you're curious to see how the person behind some of the most advanced AI on the planet is thinking, you can read his work. And Mark Andreessen is a cool guy in the investment space, but the true answer is Andrei Karpathy. And so I'm not going to give candies for this one because you got it right. Congratulations. It's slightly better than random check. Oh wow, that's cheating. That's cheating. I wouldn't expect anything else from you guys. So let's go to this guy and some of the ideas he captured. So this Andrei Karpathy, he was for 5 years the senior director of computer vision at Tesla, working on the most advanced, by some opinion, autonomous driving systems. And now he came back to the OpenAI. He was one of the founding members of OpenAI, and now he came back and he's working on all these advanced things like ChatGPT and DALL-E and so on. And he coined the idea of software 2.0. Instead of talking about machine learning or AI, but rather look at it from the other way. And has anybody heard about that software 2.0 before? Okay, great. This means I have something to tell you. Let's show it. It's better to show example. So software 1.0 is pretty much a deterministic code that a human, let's say human, at least for now, wrote down using their expertise on what is something we're trying to achieve, what we want the computer and system to do, and that is kind of compiled or translated to the code that, like the language that computers understand, and then it actually runs and does something. You give it an input, it produces some kind of output, whether it's on your screen or somewhere else. And this is an example. Let's imagine we're trying to find which courier to give an incoming food delivery order to. Software 1.0 could look something like that. You know, if distance to clients in kilometers is less than 3.5, maybe let's give them a bicycle, because maybe it's easier to park and it's easier to turn on the bicycle, so you don't have to drive around with the car, so it may be faster, plus it's more, let's say, eco-friendly. And which one to give? We have, let's say, multiple couriers with a bike. Let's just give it to the closest one. Sounds logical. The closest one will be there faster, right? Makes sense. And otherwise, let's find the closest one with a car. Do you have any better ideas? Do you see any problems with this? Why 3.5? I mean, I'm not sure if I should I give him a candy, guys? No. Sorry.
Why not ask the person itself?
Why not ask the person itself? Or what? Sorry?
Why not ask the person what he really wants?
That's a good question. Here we go for a candy. I'm sorry, I hope I'm better at telling presentations than I'm throwing things, but you'll judge that later. It's a good question, right? We could ask a person what they want, and sometimes we do. Let's say, give one example. Let's say, do you want a cheaper or a faster car? Or the car doesn't come to you fastest, or do you want the cheapest one? And when you order a car, you can choose, you know, take economy category or take, let's say, the one that's closest to you. You have something to say.
Perhaps you shouldn't look at by distance, by time it takes to come to the client.
Good one. So look not by distance, but by time, because you might be closer, but if you're in like wrong place, you're on a bridge, it may take a lot of time. It's a good example, right? So here we have human expertise still. Okay, I think it's enough. Let's now think how we can use the data to make this assignment problem a bit, solve it a bit better. And when I say better, to be honest, as a company, what we care about for our customers is that we have limited, human resources. We don't have a million couriers and timing. There are a certain number of them. And there are a certain number of people who want to make orders. And if we can put those people more efficiently, we can produce more orders with the same amount of people. And let's say if you talk about cars, let's say if we have 100,000 drivers online and we improve an algorithm by 1%, this would be equivalent to having 1,000 drivers and 1,000 cars on the street. And it's better not to add cars, but rather find more efficient algorithm. And we have many examples and problems like this at Bolt, and all other companies as well have them. So yeah, let's here we can actually zoom in. So this guy, he's a data scientist. he had asked the right question. Why 3.5? Maybe it should be 2. Maybe the more optimal would be 2 or 4 or 5. Or maybe it depends on the city. Maybe in Tartu you need to use 1 kilometer, but in London maybe 5 is okay. So those are the things that we can think about, but if you ask me, I don't know what's the right one. But the data can tell me. Or I can experiment with a variety of things and measure and see what performs better, and so on. Then there is of course a question, like, do we want to find the closest one or the fastest? I think that was a very good point. Do we want actually to, why do we choose bike in the closest? Maybe there are cases where maybe it's bad weather, really bad weather, and on the bicycle, person would be slower or mess up the foot. There are many things you can think about. And as humans, we can spend hours and months and years trying to figure out those things for complex problems. And let's look how it may look like in the software 2.0 world. But for that, we need to do a bit of introduction to machine learning. And some of you maybe have seen it, some of you may play with machine learning models, but not all of you. So let's do that on a simple example. Let's try to predict the price of a house. Let's say you want to sell your house or you want to buy a house, you want to understand, is it a real price? I mean, I don't know, probably you are not buying houses yet, but by the time when you get there, I hope you'll be able to make smart decisions about that. And this is like our thing. Let's say the input is the size of the house. Let's say super simple problem. We just look at the size. Let's say, is it 60 square meters or 100 square meters or 21? And we have some data about the prices. So this every X represents an example. Let's say here we can see that, it's taken from the machine learning course. It's American one, that's why there are feet and dollars, but don't mind that, it doesn't make sense. So let's say 500 square feet, roughly 50 square meters. We look here, what was the price? $110,000. We look here, 1,000 square feet. Here the price was almost 300,000. So we see kind of some relationship that the bigger the size, the typically bigger the price. Anybody brave enough to suggest? Let's say I have a house, new one, that is not here in the data. We don't know about its price. We try to figure it out. That is also 1,500 feet. How much should it cost? Around 300K. And very correct. Yes, you were. Around 300K. I think looking at this data, I think it would be a good guess. I mean, there are many things that can affect it. It could be location. It could be maybe a more expensive place, or maybe it is nicer. But that's like reasonable approximation. That's the starting point. And let's say if it's 5,000 square feet, if it's a huge one, 500 square meters, how much would it cost? 600. Okay. I will give you a candy, but let's think. 800. We'll see about that. Okay, but for the bravery, catch. Sorry, but okay, you figure it out. So one way to solve this problem is to use some relatively basic math that you guys all learned at school, and we can figure out the formula. That price, we can draw some line. You've seen lines. X plus b is the kind of the way you can describe this function. And the question is, it kind of fits in, like not perfect, but we could figure out like perfect line that fits this thing here, but there are problems with that. It's called overfitting, but not gonna go there. But that's roughly kind of the starting point. That's the simplest thing you can do in this problem. And the question comes, who can tell me what A affects here? If the A is going to be bigger, how the line is going to look? Okay, I see there are some. But okay, if A is twice, let's say A right now is whatever something, if it's going to be twice bigger, a line is character array. Okay, it's going to go up. Good. Showing with your hands is also very important. So this could be a first model, and we can use machine learning to try to find some line that actually somehow much goes closer to the points. That's pretty much what machine learning is all about. We try to find some function. It's going to be more complex functions most of the time, and it's going to have a lot of nuances. But fundamentally, you try to find some kind of function that matches closer to your data. that's like the basics, and this is something that can tell you, make you a data scientist and make you take his job away, or become Christian's boss. We can have some other lines. Let's say use quadratic functions, so use not linear line, but the one maybe looks closer. Maybe you have 10 times bigger house. It's not going to be maybe 10 times more expensive. It may be 6 times more expensive, or so on, because whatever. Who wants to live in 2,000 square meter house? It's probably quite expensive to hit. And this is roughly what software 2.0 does. Given the data and your objective, let's say to minimize the errors, because you can see the line, you see there are some errors. If you look, kind of try to test it on the house that you already know about, let's say this one, this is 900 square feet. This model predicted costs 200K, this model predicted costs, 230K, the true price here was 300. So we made an error, and machine learning is not about exact answers. It's about finding something that's good enough. But humans are also not perfect. We don't always give perfect answers all the time. But we try to minimize those errors, as humans and as machines. So now you know what, now I just taught you 1 semester of machine learning. Congratulations, you can get your certificate after the presentation. But the problem is, even if you figure out this function, the reality of how to apply this in the real world is going to be a bit more complicated. And here I draw a toy example. I mean, I know it doesn't look very well, but on this projector. But you can believe me that in this problem, instead of writing exactly, find this courier, maybe I can tell something about all the couriers I have in the city. Let's say, I have a courier that's in this location, that average speed today was 15 kilometers per hour. The courier is on a bike. The time since last order is 10 minutes. Rating of that courier is 4.9, and distance to the restaurant is 2 kilometers. And we have maybe multiple couriers, and we also maybe have something about the city state. We know maybe what kind of weather is there. Maybe it's raining. How many active orders do we have in the city? Things like that. And then we have the information about the order. It costs 12 euros, and there's pickup location somewhere there, and we might have some other data. All this data already exists in the system. Some of this data has to be developed specifically for this problem. And with software 2.0 and machine learning, your goal is to take this data available, or find out what can you figure out about the problem, about this order, about the state of the world, and do something like this. For all the couriers that you have, find some, let's say, match score. How good does this courier match this order? For example, by doing some magical model predict. Doesn't matter what it is for now, but we already trained the model previously. We feed some kind of line or curve or whatever that is, and now we ask it, given this courier and this city state and this given order, how well do they fit? And then you know it for all the couriers. Let's say we have 100 couriers, you score it for each of them, and maybe find the one that has the best match score, and give it order to them. And the powerful thing here is that when you understand that maybe something else about the city matters, maybe is there a traffic jam in the city for cars, and then all the bikes are going to be way better, you can add it relatively easily to the model, you can add it to the data, retrain your model, and now we have way better algorithm without having to rethink everything about the world and changing a lot of software on the way. So this is the kind of introduction to machine learning, supervised machine learning that doesn't just cure it. And now, given the problem, given the data points, you can all figure out first, do human learning, figure out with your brain how this line may look like, and go through a couple of tutorials and make your own machine learning models. Congratulations. I'm gonna check tomorrow if you need it. The ones who actually do, I have more changes. And this would be some example how this may look like if you actually try to implement it. You would go to some environment. This is Jupyter Notebook, where you can define steps that have to be executed, and you don't do things from scratch. You can find some helper functions and things that were implemented before. And in this example, we find something called linear regression, which essentially tells, I want to build this line that fits closest to the data. So here are my data points, and I run this function fit, not fit like me, but it says fit the data. I will feed the data, and here we have the line that looks pretty close to this, right? It could be this, that wouldn't be great, it could be this, wouldn't be great, but this one looks matches data pretty well. and you can go and do this tutorial in 10 minutes. I found a YouTube video, 7 minutes, and if you like it, if you want to explore more, there's more stuff that comes. Unfortunately, the sad reality is that, first of all, any questions here? One thing I wanted to tell you, but I forgot, because that's what happens with humans. Humans forget. In that Slido link, there is a Q&A. So you can actually go there. Let me show you. Maybe you have some already questions. But there is this audience Q&A. You can ask questions there. You can ask questions right now. You can interrupt me. That's completely okay. I'll be happy to. But if you want to...
I actually want to ask a question here. The slide you pointed out was from a Coursera course.
Yes.
Is this how you learn?
I
recommend it?
think that is maybe still one of the best courses. Depends on like where you start from. Like, do you want to understand what it is about, what you can do with it? Do you want to get hands-on experience, understand how to make it work? But I think Coursera, this course is still like, that's how I started in 2015 to learn about machine learning. I know many friends who did it. Probably there is something better. I don't know. Christian, do you know better courses to get started? Machine learning A to Z on Udemy. It's free as well? No, oh my god. I love free stuff.
Google generative AI
Google generative AI.
right now as of now.
I think Howard has a course on ML&A, introductory course on ML&AI that is free on edX.
Okay, so guys, you can go to your Discord and ask this question and comment in the threads. Everything is better. I'm a boomer. I learned this course. I took it 8 years ago, so I don't know everything. But the main thing, if you want to ask me a question or if you want to make a snarky comment, feel free to use this. You can upload those things. So instead of scrolling TikTok, ask questions and make fun of questions done by others. And I will wait for one question to appear to know this is working. Is this working? The link is still the same, just in case. It's still this one, so don't close your phone, you can use it and keep it going. How are we doing with energy, guys? Are we going too fast, too slow? Just right?
Just right.
Just right, I said that. Are you mentor?
I'm a student for this course.
Okay, alright. A snarky comment. Test, is this working? Yes, it is. Thank you very much. Grat aim. Can I get the candy? Well, depends if what you do for that. You usually have to ask questions or answer them. Great. So now all of you are solid beginners in machine learning. And one thing I want to tell you is that machine learning and AI algorithms themselves, with rare exception, they are not the goal. They're just one of the tools. And typically, to create value for users, you need to connect it with something. Let's say ChatGPT is not a model. ChatGPT is a software system that is connected to the model somewhere on the backend side that allows you to kind of create this interactive experience and ask questions and get corrections and so on. The model itself, if I give it to you, you wouldn't figure out how to run it on your laptop. And probably it would not work on your laptop. So here, what I want to tell you is that this machine learning code, one example I showed in the previous slide, is actually one small part of the picture. And there is a lot of interesting challenges to solve everything, on all the things around it. About getting the data, building the infrastructure, building things that help to those things to work, connecting it to real applications, deploying all those things. There is a lot of kind of interesting stuff. So just keep that in mind. Having a model and solving a user's problem or problem in the world is not the same. Takeaways from the episode 1. AI is cool, right? But many valuable use cases can be solved with very simple models or no models at all. No model is the best model when at least you're starting out. And high quality data and solving the right problem is the key. So you can prototype a model, a lot of people can develop models, but thinking and with your brain how to apply it, where it makes sense to apply it and which one, those are the things where you can outcompete others and create more value instead of just building toys. Episode number 2. This part is going to be a bit more about the product side of things, And one thing I want to take away from here is to just keep iterating, keep trying. You need to do it within this week. You need to keep iterating. Some teams already pivoted, and that's great. Sometimes you'll find out that what you do doesn't work, and that completely is fine. Like nobody expects you to succeed at everything from the first thing, from the first try, and learning and iterating is just part of the process. And the more you do it, the faster you kind of get to the place you want to be. And one thing as well that I felt after events like this is in some events there is a lot of focus on building a startup, getting financing, building a company. While it's great, and for some people that may work out, Markus Milik, the CEO of Bolt, he got lucky and by luck and talent, at 19 he built a company that he's working on for 10 years already. I didn't get lucky with my startup ideas and my projects, as in like creating successful business. And this is from the same outline, one of the options you had on the quiz, projects and companies. If you search for that, you'll find it. And I think one of the cool things is that keep treating, you may be tempted, I want to build a company, I want to make it serious. But the sooner you do it, the more you'll be constrained by thinking conventionally. Or if I need to build a company, I have to think about the profits, or I have to, think about all the legal things, and I have to, hire people. And you quite fast get to the way of thinking like everybody else does. Build projects. Facebook was a project, Google was a project, many other things were projects initially. And they became companies later on. But the projects have so much more value, and if we all think of that, just having side project on the side, having something you're curious about, and trying things, without expectation that this may turn out a big billion-dollar idea, like, is it worth doing if it's not gonna be a billion-dollar idea? 100%. You're gonna learn, you're gonna create something valuable, you're gonna connect with cool people, and this is one of the key things I wanna take away from this. It's great if you build a company, but if you learn something and you connect with other people and you do something that you find useful for yourself and hopefully others, that's amazing. That could be a takeaway for the session. I could finish it, but you're not so lucky. I'm gonna keep talking for more. And I will illustrate this myself. Here am I at TransferWise Hackathon. Actually, that's where I met this guy. And we've been I had this idea to build a machine learning platform, and we've been working on that for a bit of time. I was trying to make it in my university thesis. I never graduated masters yet. Maybe it will happen, maybe it will not. But I've been working on that, building a prototype, winning more competitions. I went to talk to the companies that were building machine learning. I tried to sell this thing to them. Nobody wanted to buy it, or everybody wanted to hire me. And in the end, this is how I came to work at Bolt, and I'm working right now on those ideas and those things that I was curious about and passionate about. Machine learning, tooling, and infrastructure, and this is what's been driving me for the past 5 years. And it started out as a master's student project, then I tried to make it a company. It didn't work, but in a way, this was such a positive thing that I did in my life. And besides that, I was doing a lot of hackathons just for fun, without expectation that this is gonna do something. One thing I learned is the more fun I had with the hackathon, the more likely actually I'm gonna get prizes. When I try to get prizes and make it serious, usually it was usually like boring ideas. So we did a bunch of things with my friends and my colleagues, built some virtual reality games that I had to pitch on a bus because I didn't expect we're gonna get a top 10. And I had to pitch this in front of 2,000 person audience while sitting on Lux Express bus and talking about some weird things, and all the passengers were looking at me with a weird way, but that's not a skydiving pitch, but that's quite fun experience as well. And of course, one of the best fun things, you can see best fun in the top right corner. I'm not gonna say the name of this project out loud, but this is something that got to be shown on national TV. And this is still the most fun thing I ever did in my life, where we built a thing to help parents to let their baby sleep by automatically detecting when the baby wakes up and starts crying, and start to rock the stroller automatically with magic of electronics and engineering. But in the end, it had many more fun use cases than that. And the reason why I think you should do that is that the cost of trying right now is so much lower. 10 years ago, getting website out was very hard. Today I've seen a lot of you using Wix.com. I actually used to work at Wix for a brief period of time. You can prototype your idea in 1 hour, in 1 day, in 2 weeks. And imagine if you do that every month of a year. you'll have 12 ideas in a year. And by the time when you're 20 or when you're 25, you have tried so many things, you have learned so many lessons that people who just go to university and just follow the path that's been set out for them are never gonna experience it. So you're in a great position and use it, try it. Do something, throw away, try more. And what I'm hoping for, I'm hopeful about certain things. What I'm not necessarily happy about is that a lot of smart people today, myself included, are located in big companies, optimizing the kind of small parts of their business, doing 1% improvement here, 1% improvement there, while we could be going there, coming to a new domain, new problem, new non-profit, and creating something from scratch by using our knowledge and ideas. And today, with this whole productivity increase, I'm very, very hopeful we can do that. And surprisingly, even though the cost of trying is falling, over the past year, number of new startups has been decreasing a lot. You can blame economy, you can blame that people are lazy, or whatever else you can blame all the things, but the reality is that there are not as many startups being created today as there used to be a couple of years ago.
In Estonia, is it also?
I don't know about Estonia. This is from Crunchbase. It has US, Israel, and European Union. So we're part of European Union, but a small part.
Inside EU, we actually stand out quite a bit, right?
I don't know about this comparison year by year, to be honest. If somebody knows, write to the Discord or throw tomatoes at me. But what it means is that there is an unmet opportunity. Startups are typically created because there is something lacking in the world. There is something lacking on the market. Maybe it's a new way to water your plants, or a way to remove the trash from the rivers, or anything else. But there is something lacking by existing companies, governments, and other entities. And if less people try to solve those problems, this means there will be more problems unsolved. Which means you are in a great position to keep trying, keep finding ideas, and get to kind of match this niche and find something you're passionate about, but also something that doesn't exist yet. And one example from Estonia that I want to show you of a great minimum viable product. When I saw it, I was just amazed. And let me show you in 3 pictures. Picture number 1, Ragnar Sass, one of the, okay, I see you by the smiles, you can read the text. I'm not sure, am I allowed to put bad words here? But yeah, taxation is hard, and stock options, which is part of the compensation for long-term incentives in the companies, is also hard to understand in Europe. There is a lot of taxation things around that I don't know, even though I worked on this for 5 years. And he said, hey guys, go and check out this free tax calculator, because European Union tried to do it, but they couldn't. It was too damn complicated. And obviously I clicked the link. This is the landing page I got. First, European stock option tax calculator. And you need to put your email, obviously, to get through that. And I put my anonymized email, but now you know it. If you email this, you can reach my email, but not, you don't know my email. This is Apple's magic. And what do you think is going to be on the next slide when I show it to you? Payment options.
Just a
Calculator. Okay. You're not going to get this. Calculator. How would you build a calculator for that? Any other options? Who wants to shout louder? Nothing? Questions? Question about specifics. Okay. What? Questions about revenue. I think you're right. Well, I will give to calculator the questions, but I don't know, guys. Can I please give a candy to Christian? I mean, I've been making a lot of jokes about him already. Yes, and he's been trying really hard to win a candy. That's what was behind it. By one of the most well-known entrepreneurs in Estonia, like in his startup, after landing page, you end up in Google spreadsheets, which have a template where you can copy and you get your calculator. You need to enter your country and some other details about it. And this is the minimum viable product. I've used it. It costs pretty much nothing to build. If you know what to do, and if you know the numbers, it can be done like in a day. And this is still the best solution to the understanding of the tax for options that I've seen yet. You don't need to be a programming genius, but if you have specific knowledge and if you learn and understand what people need and understand how you can solve it, very simple solutions can take you very far. At the same time, since everybody can do it, competition for obvious things increases. So there is enough for everything. It's been told for like past 5 years, you say whatever, just give me like random words and there is enough for that. Which means if you want to create something truly valuable, you need to find a way to stand out. You need to find some specific thing that you understand that others don't, or others were too lazy to do, or didn't figure out how to do it. So that's why specific knowledge is key. With this section, I want to keep you with the side of just keep iterating. When you iterate, you learn. When you iterate, you get new skills. When you iterate, you meet new people and get new ideas. And in the future that I'm hoping for, we all get more productive. We can all use generative AI tools like ChatGPT and other more specialized tools, Photoshop AI or whatever the things that maybe doesn't exist yet. We will all become more productive. And more people, we are in the school that the goal of which is to create more developers in this country. There will be more people who will be more productive. This means there is an opportunity to solve more and more problems in some niches that so far were not touched, because just the smartest people, some of the smartest people go and work for the companies that pay the most, that have the biggest businesses. So there is a lot of value that can be unlocked these days with one person or a small group of people. And this leads me to the episode number 3, about what I consider to be the biggest AI opportunity that every single one of you can benefit from. What do you think it is? Can you say it louder? Algorithms.
ChatGPT.
That's not the opportunity, that's a tool. But yeah, what is maybe the best application of ChatGPT you can think of? Could you scream? Replacing workers.
Writing your essay, that's cool.
Perhaps,
Writing essays is cool.
perhaps
Which one?
teaching.
Teaching?
Teaching.
Teaching? And what do you have? Sorry? Happy humans. Teaching. And you? Did you say getting candy? No, okay. Getting info fast. I have a lot of candies, but I think I will reward the most accurate answer. Teaching. Here we go. I do think that learning and education is one of the best opportunities how we can apply ChatGPT to create massive value in the world and solve so many problems. And this is what my colleague said when on one of those questions I asked. I will read it out loud. Don't use AI to skip learning. Use it to learn faster and better. And a lot of other people agree with it, and I immensely agree with this. I don't know. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, it was actually a student who wrote in an essay that I think he said that basically doing it yourself is being like a seamstress, but using an AI to do it is using like a factory product. I think this was the best comparison I've heard.
And did he write this essay himself?
Right?
Did he write this essay himself?
I'm not sure, but the fact is that this was the essay was about using AI and it was allowed to use AI. So
That's smart.
yeah,
Right.
I think it's a smart comparison.
Okay. So I think that the biggest opportunity I myself can leverage in the coming years, and you as well, is actually enhancing our learning immensely. And I'll throw some examples and data points at you right now, so fasten your seatbelts. One of the best opportunities that seems to that people who actually work in education seem to be aligned with is that personalized tutoring, mentoring, giving advice, asking the right questions and challenging you, and hinting you where you need to improve or learn something, is one of the best ways to increase the performance. And this is called 2 Sigma problem that was outlined in 1994 by one of the researchers in education. And here, I think what you need to do is, let's say, if you take the typical classroom way how most of the people, how I studied at school and how many others studied at school, and let's say, this thing is, people. So for example, here we have a lot of people who are pretty good. Let's say, and this is like on this axis, it's say performance by whatever measure we define. And let's say here are the top. Getting here means you're like top of the world in a specific thing. Here means you are like not very cannot even do anything. And being here means you're kind of somewhere in the middle. So let's say so-called average student. I don't think that's the right way to say somebody's average student. It means that somebody gives an average result in this specific task given what they have learned so far in their environment. And what the study has shown is when you move from this, the blue thing represents visual classroom. This orange represents so-called mastery learning, when you have your own pace, when you learn for as long as you need, and you first you have to master a specific skill and topic before you move forward. It's not like at school, oh, today we're gonna cover this, the next week we'll do some test about it, and we'll move to the next topic. Like you stay on this topic until you're really great. And if you just add that, so many people move from being, let's say, average or below average to being here, being above average. Essentially, like most of the people who just use this methodology get above average already. And if we add tutoring, let's say one-to-one tutoring, when you have a mentor like we have here today and during this week, everybody gets here. These are not different people. These are the same people, the same students. Everybody gets to perform at the top, on the top level or almost at the top level. So if we add the personalized tutoring experience to, imagine like we add this to everybody on the planet. If every single student from their childhood and through adulthood has a great mentor who is patient, who is empathetic, who does not get irritated, who always has time. Everybody will perform at the level of current geniuses or the top students or the top whatever in the profession we're talking about. Just imagine how different the world will be if everybody gets to be so good at whatever they are learning, whatever they are doing. I cannot imagine that yet, but I'll be very, very curious to hear your thoughts about it a bit later, so you can start thinking about it. And I watched a TED Talk by Sal Khan, who is the person behind Khan Academy, online learning environment, about that. And he reframed it, it's not a 2 sigma problem, it's a 2 sigma opportunity. We can use AI to provide one-to-one tutoring for every student and for every teacher, provide equivalent teacher assistant who can help to grade papers and suggest and how to explain things and so on. So, and that's what they are working on, and that's what many companies and startups are working on. How we can use this amazing technology to help us to improve our thinking, find the gaps in our knowledge, and not just give us information, but help to crack the code how we can understand and improve. And let's combine it with some other ideas. One of the videos I saw many years ago is that in 20 hours, you can learn anything. Do you believe that? Is there anyone who doesn't agree with it? It's okay to disagree. Is there something you cannot learn in 20 hours?
There's a lot of things.
Lots of things, thank you.
The toughest one would be like how to be an astronaut, perhaps.
How to be an astronaut.
You don't learn that in 20 hours.
I would agree. Any other things, examples? I think you have one.
You can have the basic understanding of everything, anything in 20 hours. You have to learn some things. 20 hours is just not enough, especially practical things like woodworking and like things that require practice.
Okay, that's fair. Let's move to the, I know you all have ideas in your brain like, I know this, you cannot learn this in 20 hours. I know how to make you suffer, but that's not the point. The point is that there are many things you can learn in 20 hours. Look at it this way. You can learn to play guitar reasonably well. You can learn machine learning in 20 hours of deliberate learning. There are specific things he explains in this video, I'm not gonna go there. But if you apply deliberate practice, if you get the feedback, if you approach it with, say, intention, you can get a lot of things in 20 hours. And that's one of the great opportunities. Another, it's too small here, but one of the other very good guys in the computer science has this bold claim that being in top 5% of a field is not good enough. And that if you're being intentional, and if you get the feedback, it's very, very, like, relatively easy to get in top 5%. And he brought examples of certain video games and examples of public speaking. So compared to people who would do something, how to get in top 5%, there is quite simple things. And I think in many ways this reflects to this idea of 2 sigma, an idea of personalized tutoring and getting the feedback and kind of reflecting on how you learn. And just, I'm going to show you the screenshot. So from that, stolen from that video, instead of just, let's say you have an equation to solve, you make a mistake, and this assistant from Khan Academy can not only tell you, you're wrong, and here is the right answer, but point you at which place you may have made a mistake and remind you of some rules. And that's a pretty exciting thing how they do it. They spent 6+ months to develop this, and they use ChatGPT. They use OpenAI's software for that. But for that, they had to create a lot of this prompting magic. So they had to find a way how to give the context of what the person is doing. What is the task? What did they do? And some ways how to trigger the OpenAI to think in a certain way. And with that, kind of integrating what I was talking about. Model itself is not enough, but model with some, let's say, engineering around it and some way to provide extra data and extra content, this is what creates value. Because for me, if I just plug in the same question and answer to ChatGPT, probably I will get very different response than these guys got. And this is, I think, is a really great opportunity. And I know, guys, you're at this stage of life when learning is probably one of the primary ways you spend your time, and everybody talks about it, it's important, and that may get boring. I want to share why I, myself, personally focus so much about learning. It's not because I'm a teacher, it's not because whatever I care about you getting a good grades, but I just think this is one of the best ways to create most value in the world. And one example from software industry, from one of the surveys that was done among software engineers. Software engineers, people professionals who studied for many, many years, most of them who have many years of experience, don't take pictures, it's from a paid newsletter.
I'll tell you later.
Okay. So they surveyed professional software engineers, guys who are great at what they're doing, and asked how they use things like Copilot and ChatGPT. And some of the main examples that everybody had, some of the main values is learning, figure out how to get started. When sometimes you're a bit stuck, you don't know where to start, and kind of, you need a little bit of push who will tell you, do this and this, and continue in that direction. And prototyping. So kind of getting those first iterations, learning new concepts, and trying things out. And if professionals who have a lot of experience, who solve many problems, find this is the most useful way we can apply AI so far, this is something we can all learn from them. So imagine that, and if you are new in the industry or new in a specific type of work or skill, this just becomes even more important for you. And there is a thought experiment. Depending on how we're doing with time, we've done 1 hour already. I know it's been a lot from time from lunch, but I wanted to think about this experiment that Naval Ravikant, one of the investors, quite big investors, have posed. Imagine if everybody had the knowledge of a good software engineer and a good hardware engineer. Something that we are trying to develop here today. Some of you know a bit more, some of you know a bit less, but we're all trying to learn and build prototypes and turn ideas into some kind of reality. Imagine if everybody on the planet had the skills. Doesn't mean everybody have to be a software engineer, but if everybody had to do it. And everybody could go and build prototypes like you are doing today. Everybody could go and build programs. Everybody could understand how to automate certain type of work. Everybody could figure out how to build the river cleaning robots. If everybody knew it, what do you think society will look like in 20 years? And for that, let's do a couple of minutes on this. I'm going to launch this one. I think it's just open text. You can write whatever you want. And again, you can go here. Yeah, you can go here. Let's do 2-3 minutes.
With suur osa selgitusest, et palun be have
let's say yes. Let's say for 1 year, everybody locks themselves in a room, learns with the best tutors out there, and everybody gets those skills. Let's say for free. It just happens. We pause the world, put a chip in somebody's brain, and everybody can do that. What will happen in 20 years? Give me an idea. It could be big or small. You can bring one example of a problem that will be solved. You can bring an example of what could happen there, and just put it there. So I see 9 people are typing, 7 people are typing, so it's good. You can do it there. World will look a lot better. It's gonna be the Matrix. Everybody could, but not everybody would. Very good one. And everything will be very boring. I hope I didn't give you kind of whoever was that. High competition pulls creative solutions, super efficient product and solutions. Unemployment in non-essential work fields. Evolve rapidly. Engineers will be on the same level as janitors and cashiers. Okay, we are starting a good debate, I think, here. I see a lot of you are also focusing on the negative sides, and that's good. You don't have to be, hooray, AI is the best thing ever, but you don't have to be a doomsdayer. I think we need a good debate here. Competition rises, a lot of people go to other fields. Isn't it the reality? I don't know. Is everybody here as good software engineer as I am? I'm a manager now. I'm not a very good software engineer anymore. Okay, and 3 people are typing. We have 20 people here, so we started with 40 people doing in the poll, but I know this requires thinking. You could have asked ChatGPT then, guys. I'm disappointed. I don't see ChatGPT reply here. For people who all know what ChatGPT is, I think we can do a bit better. And I'll give 1 more minute. 4 people are typing. Let them do this. You would send people further or even out of solar system. That is good. Competition, people, you see this software that has some kind of machine intelligence starts to find common words and common patterns. Robots. Planet will run out of materials. That's actually a very valid thing right now. A lot of things that are needed for the software and so on are very deep down the ground and controlled by a couple of countries. So we cannot create infinitely many computers, at least on this planet, at least with technology we have right now. Those are very good things, guys. You have good thinking. Exploring the ocean fully. Given the recent news about submarines, I think we can build better submarines. I think it's a good opportunity.
This was a good example because this was a group of engineers.
It's a group of engineers who decided.
Have any other?
Yeah. So guys, don't build submarines in a week, and at least don't use those submarines that you built in a week. World would be amazing. Many products and solutions. At least somebody's being positive. Thank you, the positive person. Oh, finally. I think somebody was typing really long and hard. I heard the fingers tapping on the screen. Very productive person. Prosperity, problem solving, collaboration, openness, customization, and personalization. Oh my God. Somebody put a lot of thought in that. Thank you very much, anonymous person. Anna, Yuri. Are even mentors allowed to participate? We should prohibit them. Build submarines in a week. Great. I think it's enough. We had quite a lot of responses. Thank you, guys. You all put the thoughts to good things and the bad things, how this changes dynamics in the job marketplace, what are the good things, what's the good stuff that come out of that and bad stuff. And I really like that you look from a variety of angles and we can have a good debate after that over a tea. And this is what Naval said himself, is that his guess was that we would build robots, machines, didn't say anything about submarines, we did better than him, and build hardware to do everything. We would all be living in a massive abundance because all the things you want to be solved will be solved for very cheap and everybody's going to be super productive. Very optimistic guy, but I think we're moving somewhere there. Where the truth is going to be, I don't know. But I want to leave you with a couple of questions as we're getting closer to the end of the presentation. Think about, maybe make it work. No, it doesn't. First of all, if you don't have yet a note with ideas or a document or whatever you write down your ideas, create it right now. You all have your phones in your hands. You have no excuses. Somebody wanted to, create a way to nudge people to use calendar better. I mean, create a note right now. Call it ideas or create a space, whatever works for you. And in future, whenever an idea comes to mind, oh, this is annoying. I think it can be solved. Or I wish this thing would exist. Write it down. I invented grocery delivery 15 years ago. I obviously didn't build it, but I had an idea, and now there's thousands of startups trying to make money in that space. You all have great ideas, and creativity is a muscle. The more you practice it, the more ideas you generate, the easier it will come, and you will see opportunities everywhere. You can look at, oh my god, this light is super annoying. Maybe we need some automatic thing that will block out the light, so actually this screen will look better. I mean, that's just one random example, and I'm sure you have a lot more. And think about what makes you curious. Not what society thinks you should do, not what you think you're a bit good at. Think of the cases where you are genuinely curious about something, when you spend time reading about it or watching YouTube videos or talking with people and your eyes would light up. Oh, I think this is a really cool thing, why nobody's talking about it. Think about what makes you curious. Write it down. Think what made you curious when you were 7, 8, 9. What questions you had or wanted to ask somebody, but you never got a good answer. Ask those questions to ChatGPT. Discuss with a friend. And the more you follow your curiosity, the more of genuine idea you're gonna have. And the more likely you're gonna create something that you're truly passionate about, and you'll be excited to keep pushing them. And the next one, think about what idea you always wanted to build. I'm sure you had some ideas. Maybe you wanted to build a space elevator. Maybe you wanted to build swimming pools inside a house that will have waves so you can surf on them. It doesn't have to be smart, it doesn't have to be profitable, it doesn't have to be even anything that would look acceptable. But think about that and write it down. Remember the things that made you curious and keep focusing on them. And over the time, the more ideas you collect, the more likely you are going to find something you're truly passionate about. I'm not even saying that everybody should build an entrepreneur, or everybody should find a company, or everybody should build a product. There are many ways you can contribute your ideas and create value and be creative and entrepreneurial in whatever context you are. Whether it's building a student company, creating a new division in some existing corporation, finding a startup, or just doing some cool project and event with your friends over the weekend, all of those things are valuable and make the world a more interesting place to live. And what I want you to take home with you in your head from this event. First of all is keep creating. This week is gonna pass. You may build something that you are proud of, you may not. But if you keep iterating, if you keep applying the lessons, if you keep learning, if you keep focusing on what makes you curious about, and if you, next time when you have some idea, wow, that would be an interesting thing to do. Instead of saying, I'll do it later, whenever that happens, or I'm not smart enough, I don't know how to do that, try to make one step. Try to spend 2 hours thinking what is something that you can do, or what are the questions you need to get answered, what you need to Google. And of course, invest in yourself. As many people will tell you, including investors, that investing in yourself is one of the best investments you can ever make. It's gonna be better than gonna be Bitcoin. Bitcoin 2009, never gonna happen again. There may be some other opportunities, but the best one is always investing in yourself, in your knowledge, your health, your skills, your friendships. Thank you very much, and that's it from me. Amazing, you are good at clapping. Anybody invents clapping machines so that you can keep working on your laptop while you must clap according to social standards? And I will do one thing. I will check back and look at the Q&A. Oh wow! So here are the things we got in the Q&A. I'm not sure if we have time for that. I'm not sure if I can sing from you. I'll be kicked out from here before that happens. Type 1 civilization. Type 1 civilization. No, those are the polls. And the Q&A. Where is this? In the software, I don't know, do we have time? I've done 1 hour and 15 minutes. That's probably enough of it, or do we take some, the event bosses, what do we do? What? Question. Well,
On the height.
what?
Is the height you can sing on the height.
You can sing on what?
Is the height you can sing.
I can hear it. Oh, sure. I have my karaoke list, and I can do that, but you will not be happy I did it. Okay. So in Software 2.0 screenshot, there was a best courier score. Define best courier. Nice. And this is got 3 upvotes. First of all, that code was not real. I just invented it when I was thinking like how to explain some concept and make a comparison. What it could be is, for example, acceptance rate. How likely this courier is gonna accept this order, because they don't accept all the orders. They may reject it because maybe it's too cheap or too far away and so on. So maybe we want to give the order to the courier who's actually gonna pick it up. Or we maybe gonna give it to the courier who's gonna deliver to the client fastest, so the hot food stays hot. Or maybe it's a combination of both. We wanna kind of combine certain things, multiply them, and group them somehow into some one number that we can compare. This is kind of best courier, because it's gonna be maybe on average faster, better, and whatever other things might be there. Okay. What is my opinion on the negative effects of AI? Can I get a candy? And there are 3 upvotes. I mean, I have candies here. I have a whole other bag. So you know where to find me. But honest answers on who was the person who wrote the original question? Okay, guys. The more people raise the hand, you have to split 1 candy between all the people who raise the hand. So this is like the Solomon thing. So okay. Oh, sorry. Pass it on back. Pass it on back to the. No. The lady in the blue. Okay. Great. Yirmash, so you also raised the hand, you can share with her. Okay. The luck should help the brave ones. So there are more things. Again, yes, we solved this one, we touched this one. How long did, okay, can I sing from? I'll think about it a bit later. First, let's do the business. Negative effects of AI. There will be many. It depends on how fast things evolve. Because typically things like changes in the job market, we have adapted. There are many changes, and we created, on average, we create more and better jobs for those that were automated. This is the first time, actually, where automation is going to touch more like white-collar workers, people with, on average, higher salaries. People like me will get maybe, competed out, and so on. So it should be helpful to improve the equality in society, because maybe high-paid people will be the first to be automated, or essentially where this market change is going to happen first. Of course, there are cyber threats that can become more effective. Of course, there are things how people can use things for bad, for spreading misinformation, and so on. There is, of course, debate on existential threat. Can actually AI development and applying AI kill all of us? And I've watched like 1.5 hour long debate within the experts. At the same time, I would maybe want you to read this one. How AI will save the world. How AI will, if you want to get optimistic perspective, you can read this one. It was written by Mark Andreessen, one of the guys in the quiz, and talk a bit about the kind of those things that people talk about and why did they talk about negative downsides. So it's a bit longer read, but if you're truly curious, I think it's worth it. And you'll have cool things to debate with your friends. So I think just the positives outweigh the negatives by so much that it's in a way crime to not give everybody the opportunity to get best education, not give everybody the opportunity to get better medical support, and so on. Wouldn't it be too slow if we checked every courier on the city and calculated their score, take a lot of resources, especially on large scale? Nice, smart. Of course, we want to filter out and maybe pre-select couriers who are at least in the right city, or couriers who are maybe closer relatively to this order. So yeah, of course, when you build software at scale, there are many things you need to optimize for. What works for a prototype that you build right now will maybe not work when you have successful, but when you're successful, you'll have hopefully more money and more people and resources to solve those problems. And then you have like organization of 500 engineers, and you're like, why do we need 500 engineers? It's just a taxi app, or a food delivery app, and a scooter app. But those are exactly the problems that those people solve at scale. How long did my startups last? First one was like a year something, and we had 5 people working on that. And second one was like a bit less than a year. I hardly could find somebody to collaborate with me on that because the topic of inheritance of digital assets like cryptocurrency and password was not maybe very cool topic. So I would say, and another one was like maybe half a year. And then I learned iterate, well, this is maybe not a good idea, or maybe it's a good idea, but I'm not the one who can execute it right now very well, or I'm not too excited about it, and then I move on to something else. I hope that I'll find at some point I'll build something that's gonna be better and last and actually create way more value. But all the things I've learned taught me a lot about what not to do. Courses I would recommend, oh, there are so many. Let's do that on the Discord, recommend courses to each other. Because it depends on what you want to learn. It depends on where you are right now, so it's a very hard question. Read Sam Altman blog, that's gonna be pretty cool if you're interested in startups. What's the most neglected technical expertise in domain of machine learning industry? That's a big one. I think machine learning monitoring and quality. Not necessarily safely, but at least what I see an example of Bolt and what people invest their time and resource in. Testing and monitoring and validating that things work as they should is not the first thing on the minds of people, and we try to solve it with the platform team to make it much easier. So that's where I see, at least within the Bolt context, we are lacking, but maybe it's not about the industry aggregate, but I think it applies in industry and many companies are worse than us in that. Can you recap what businesses you made that failed? One is hardware device that monitored carbon dioxide level. So when we sit together, if there's not enough ventilation, there's going to be more CO2. There is plenty of oxygen in the air. We're not going to die out because there's not enough oxygen. But if there is a lot of CO2, you may get a headache, you might start feeling tired and dizzy and so on, especially if there's not good enough ventilation. In my house I didn't have it, and I wanted to know when I should open the window. So there was one thing. So it was hardware device, an app and a backend. Second was about website, about transferring things like Bitcoin and wallets if you die, or when you die. We all are, so far, nobody is gonna live forever, and I was thinking about that, what's gonna happen to my kind of assets and my cryptocurrency and so on. And one was machine learning platform. I tried to solve how easy is it to deploy the model. So you prototype the model, how easy you can make it as something that other people can touch and use. A snarky comment, thank you. Test, thank you. Great aim. Great. What is your favorite use of AI? I think if you say ChatGPT is pretty cool, I would be boring. But I think it's pretty cool. There is the favorite and there is the most impactful. If I think about all those questions, what's the most impactful, what the most fun, or what I use most daily? It's gonna be a very long and boring answer. So I leave it to you. Think about what is something that you are excited about. And what direction will AI develop in business sector, if possible with examples? I think on one side, everybody tries to automate customer support. Everybody tries to automate those routine types of work, ourselves included. Everybody tries to, but before AI, there is a lot of machine learning use cases. To apply advanced models and advanced algorithms, you need to have people who have the expertise, who understand what they're doing, understand the limitations of technology. You need to have the proper infrastructure and kind of culture as well. It typically takes a lot of time. So it depends. Like in some companies, just pure data analytics is not solved. And people cannot even ask a simple question reliably, how many orders did I do yesterday? Or like things like that. Some people are and they're essentially in scale. I know about tech startups. In tech startups, optimizing things is a very good thing when you have an opportunity. How we can optimize something, how we can save costs, how we can make something better, how we can make something more personalized and more user-friendly. Those are the things. I'm not sure that's good enough for examples. I brought a bunch of examples, but let's say what we're doing right now, some of the things is in some markets at Bolt, we are launching verification, so that let's say a driver who is getting online is actually the driver who is registered on the platform, so that they're not going to be driver impersonation or things like that. For example, it's some of the things we've been working on the safety side. Things on the cost-saving side, there is always, let's say, we need to replace Google Maps APIs with our internal software, and there is a lot of machine learning there, for example, and many more things. So,
can I extend the same question
please.
into the verification? So how would you see AI fixing the current education system?
Unfortunately, I don't think I know very well about current education system, especially Estonia. I think mine is what I would hope for. I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but that there is, instead of just having textbooks with curricula on the subject, there is going to be, let's say, online curricula, which would have this, let's say, like in Khan Academy, tutors who can, they're like, you can ask a question. I don't understand. You know, I did step 1 and did step 2, and you know, how do I proceed? I'm stuck. I don't understand this, and then somebody can prompt you, tell you know what do you need to read, maybe which concept you missed, when did you make a mistake, because we just make small mistakes all the time, and sometimes you can get stuck. So who can help you think? One of the things that I saw when I was learning programming myself, I was following tutorials. Okay, here is an article how you do this using this technology, and I follow it, and then in article I follow steps exactly, and now something fails, and I have weird error message, and I'm like, I'm a newbie, I don't understand what's going on, what the hell? And then when I got lucky, I was going to events similar to this in my university times, and I had a mentor as well, who would go and tell, hey, you know, you need to look here, this means that, this is how you figure out those problems. If I wasn't lucky, I had to spend 4 or 5 hours or give up completely. So I think this is one of the best opportunities when we can find when the person is stuck, which is the exact piece of thing they don't understand yet. It's not throw more information, but rather throw more targeted, let's say, hints and ask questions. So that people learn to also think independently a bit more. That's something we didn't have in mind. School, you know, you just get given information, you're not taught to debate, you're not taught to be critical. And I think it's done way better here. So thank you for abusing your privileges of being a host of the event and jumping in front of the line. That's okay. Will AI replace humans? No. But if we're talking in the context of jobs and, let's say, economics, people who apply AI and apply everything other productivity tools in learning will outcompete people who don't. And this is going to affect salary, this is going to affect like who gets the job or who gets the position. So I think over the time, you know, I saw it on Instagram, so Instagram science must be true. You know, AI will not replace humans, but people who use AI will replace humans who don't. So over which time frame, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I cannot speak about future and complex things. Everybody who tells you definitely what's going to happen in future are either ignorant or they're lying. So now this one, how much will affect our lives in future? How much? You want me a number? 42. A lot, but not too much. Do we have any questions for you? Oh my God. What type of AI is easy to develop? The one you're curious about. Did it work? Hope my no answer. And have you used AI chatbots whose purpose is to have conversation or kind of have conversation or play a role-play game? I would say ChatGPT, you can prompt it. Let's say I was listening to a podcast with Mark Andreessen, who wrote this blog post about how AI would save the world, and it was talking about debates. You can prompt ChatGPT, for example, to debate from different sides of a story, you know, debate different sides of the conflict or different side who looks at the same thing, and it helps you to think about other arguments. I think it's pretty cool that you know you have some idea, you are doing ideas right now, and you can go explain this idea and you know tell me 5 ways, whatever, how this idea will not work, or let's say tell me about competitors, or tell me how maybe I can avoid doing some mistakes. So I haven't used anything specific except ChatGPT. And I've been trying to use ChatGPT and like prompt it in some ways to make it like more interesting instead of just giving an answer, kind of make it a bit more interactive. I'm sure you did actually way more of those interesting things than I did. Okay, we should close the questions. Oh my God, there are too many. Why has the efficiency of ChatGPT dropped so much? Oh, I've heard this. I've heard it from many people. Well, first of all, how do you measure efficiency? That's a good question. How good an algorithm is? It's quite subjective, but there are some types of problems that GPT-4 was able to solve, but not able to solve now. Variety of things. First of all, maybe you got lucky before. It's possible that the algorithm is the same, and you know it's exactly the same, but just whatever you tweak a couple of parameters, and the results are different. You know, the same way if you wake up. I don't know, someday you wake up, you are smarter and faster and more in a good mood, sometimes you're not. But it's possible, that I don't want to speculate, but it's possible that now there is a bit more parameters that are tweaked to maybe to make it a bit dumber because everybody is too scared about how it's gonna happen or how it's gonna affect this problem. So maybe we just want to kind of push the brakes a little bit to deal with regulators and to move maybe a conversation a bit more from fear of things going wrong rather to like how we can use it and how we can integrate it in our lives. But that's just my opinion. I have no idea. If you know, if you can talk to Sam Altman or Andrei Karpati and ask them this question, I would love to see that. Yes. Do I have any questions for you? Oh, well, I asked several questions that you may want to answer for yourself. I have actually a lot of questions, and I will be maybe asking them. But things I'm very curious about is how did you find this place? How did you decide that is something you want to try? Is it something you knew you wanted, or your friend invited you? Oh, let's gonna join. Maybe it's gonna be fun and whatever. What else do I have to do? Do you what are the things you want to do? Do you know for sure what you want to do? Let's say with your career or careers. Do you know for sure what interests you, or you keep an open mind and you just kind of go with the flow and try to figure out and explore? What do you know so far? What can you build? What makes you interested? What is maybe some lesson or like idea you learned and picked up from here? What are maybe your complaints to this event or about the Estonian scene? I have a lot of things I would like to ask you. Some of them probably it's just easier to answer or ask one by one, or let's say talking with the groups. But I'll be hanging out here and I'll be very curious to hear your thoughts on that.
How long are you staying?
I'm staying. I mean, if there is a way of a place where I can sleep, or at least a mattress or like a sleeping bag, I can stay till tomorrow. And I would love to meet all of you and kind of chat a bit more.
Tomorrow
until I don't know, midday or something. But can I sing? Well, I can. Do you want me to? I don't know, but since it was the most upvoted, the people, 5 people said they wanted. The rest of you probably don't, but the loud voices win. There was no question, please don't sing for us. So I think we can sing something together. And the way we're gonna do it is gonna be this one. We are gonna sing. We did it. I think it worked great. But I don't know. Let's do Yellow Submarine by the Beatles. Because why not? We are here to learn and also to have fun. I'm not saying you're gonna like it, but you must try. If you don't sing, I don't sing. Can you see the lyrics? Barely. Zoom in.
I'm happy to scroll if needed.
Okay, you can be the scrolling master. So we are at the yellow school called Hüppelaud. That's why we can say it's a yellow submarine, kind of. And let's all sing along. Who doesn't sing doesn't get candy. Who sings can pick up candy later. I'll give it to them. But let's go. Thank you for breaking the screen. The background. Amazing. I just didn't know when to start. You were supposed to start?
I'll do the one with the lyrics.
In the town where I
Let's just do it a cappella. Let's try. Have you ever seen Yellow Submarine? No. We are gonna do it together. It's gonna be embarrassing, but all of us gonna love it and remember it. Let's start. In the town where I was born, lived a man who sailed the sea. And he told us of his life in the land of submarines. So we sailed onto the sun, do it louder, till we found the sea of green. Sea of green! And we lived beneath the waves in our yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine. Yellow submarine, yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine, yellow submarine, yellow submarine. And our friends are all aboard. Many more of them live next door, and the band begins to play. We all live in a yellow submarine. Louder. Yellow submarine. Louder. Yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine. Yellow submarine. Yellow submarine. Woohoo! Good job. Done.
No questions. It was like, do you want to sing?
There is 0 upvotes, so democracy told that we're gonna sing. Thank you so much, guys. Have fun, learn, talk to each other, talk to mentors, ask questions, don't be shy if you don't know how to do something, and yeah, let's get to work.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. So Dennis will be around. Please use this opportunity, especially the teams working on our AI solutions. The rest of us, back to work. Thank you. Dennis has more candy.
This is the only part of the seminar you got. I have a question for you. I am a student of this school and here at Kingston. And one of the topics for the podcast is AI. If you really struggle to find any experts, we struggle to find any. So would you like to maybe confirm that? It's about like the official word that you have.
Another request, can you please write down the names of your mentors on the screen?
I myself
See, there's a lot.
Would be cool just to kind of go through those. Thank you.
Of course.